Hello, my lovely Wolfpack, and welcome back to Wolfpack Music. And today, I got another album review for you, another thrash metal album. This time, I will be doing Anthrax's Among the Living. And I'm not talking about the drug that just mysteriously ended up in people's mailboxes. I'm talking about the band. Yes, formed by Scott Ian and Dan Spitz back in the 80s in Queens, New York. These guys are a very Jewish grew up in very Jewish families, and they're very strict with their religion, just like Dave is with Christianity now. So props to them that they've found religion in their life early on and they stuck with it. Yeah, but these guys are also thrash legends. They are part of the Big Four, and you're probably wondering who or what is the Big Four. When I say the Big Four, I mean the Big Four thrash metal, the pioneers that started thrash metal. So before thrash metal, there was just heavy metal, like bands like Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Motorhead, and these guys, and Judas Priest too. These guys basically started the wave of heavy metal, and they influenced Anthrax heavily and a lot of other thrash bands. So according to Scott Ian, those bands were like his biggest influence to do what he loves. And so the Big Four thrash metal consist of Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer. And I will be getting onto Slayer in next album review video. What Slayer album I will pick, that remains to be an Easter surprise. As I'm laughing at you in my satanic voice. And I don't want to get too much on Slayer, but even though Slayer is, or quote-unquote conspiracy, they are quoted to be satanic, even though they are, or quoted to be satanic, they still are just really good, a really good thrash metal band, and they can crank out really good drum solos, riffs, vibes, everything. And according to, I guess, Kerry King and Tom Araya in one interview, they were trying to tell people, like, hey, like, we're not actually, like, Satanists, we just do it as a joke, just to fuck around, and I'm hoping that's true. Because, like, some of the stuff they talk about in their album covers be crazy, man. Especially, like, Rain and Blood and South of Heaven. But I'm definitely going to be covering their best albums in the future. But anyways, let's get back on topic to Anthrax here, Among the Living. This is also one of my favorite metal albums of all time. And there's very, very specific reasons why I'm picking these certain albums. You're probably wondering why I'm picking these old school metal albums. That's because they have a lot of good meanings that aren't stressed or illustrated in a lot of new music. A lot of new music is just, it's consumed by Hollywood and it's consumed by the media, and they all have one motive or one mission, and it's just toxic in my opinion. And you're not gonna get that kind of content in newer music like the classics. So that's why I'm cranking out the classics first. But don't get me wrong, I'll move on to other genres and new music too, but these albums are very important. I hold them dear to me, and I probably have an arsenal of like 300 to 500 metal and rock albums, so watch out. But anyways, back on to Among the Living. Starting with the title track. It's my least favorite track on the album, if I'm being honest. But it still holds up very well as a thrash song. It has some nice drum solos, some nice riffs, and it even has a catchy chorus. Among the living, bah, 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 bah. But besides that, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this song. I mean, it's alright.
It's alright, like, overrated as fuck, in my opinion. I mean,
but otherwise, it's still my least favorite track on the album. Anyways, let's get on to track number 2, Caught in a Mosh. This is probably one of my favorite tracks on the album, to be honest with you. It makes me feel like I wanted to be in a mosh pit at a metal concert, and just, I want to feel everything, man. And not only that, but another cool thing about the song is I think Scott's talking about breaking a cycle and not wanting to live a certain way anymore, just living a toxic lifestyle. He's just getting sick of it, he's just getting sick of all these toxic people that he's around, so he's like, I ain't gonna live this way. Straight up, I don't want to live my life this way. That is one of the hooks of the song, and I love it. And this song is just so groovy too. It just has really good melodies, really good drum solos, and the vocals by Scott Ian on this track were very well done. Good job, Scott. It just he brings a little bit of Gene Simmons' Kiss Soul into the song a little bit with some of the riffs. And I also have another interesting fact about this band. They were also heavily influenced by Kiss. And Scott Ian actually ended up on one of the episodes of Gene Simmons' TV show, Gene Simmons' Family House of Jewels. And that was a great episode, by the way. So if you want a good TV show with a good episode to watch, check that out, man. Anyways, this song is probably my second or third favorite track on the album, besides Indians or Medley, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Otherwise, this song I'd probably give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. Anyways, moving on to track number 3, I Am the Law. Another great track on this album. It's groovy, has a good intro, and it even has a catchy hook. I am the law, you won't fuck around no more. Where do you think we've heard that before? Probably in one of Trump's campaigns, right? Fuck around and find out. That's the vibe I get from this track, and I love it. Is it my favorite track on the album? No. Does it hold up decently as a thrash song? Yeah, probably give it a solid 6.5 or 7 out of 10. But besides that, I'm going to move on to the next track number 4, Ifil Nikufisen, NFL. I apologize, my German is awful. I couldn't pronounce German to save my life. If you needed to borrow a Hawks chord from me, I probably couldn't help you out either. I don't know what it is about German people. Like, they just have this in their voice. Like, I just got done smoking half a pack of Marlboro Blacks. Nothing against German people. You guys are awesome, by the way. I love your pastries. You're very friendly people. And I'm not trying to demonize or villainize you guys in any way, because I know one of the tracks on this album talks about the Holocaust, and I think this is actually that song. Even though it has a good meaning behind it, I still have to say this song's dog shit. The lyrics are kind of cheesy, and I just don't care for it. It gives me a headache, kind of like the Rest in Peace title track on the Rest in Peace album review that I did. It's not a good title track like the Among the Living title track on this album here. Besides it having a good meaning and maybe a few decent riffs and an unpronounceable fucking name, absolute dog shit. Sorry, but not sorry.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
Anyways, let's move on to the next track, A Skeleton in the Closet. Now, this is a pretty good track, I gotta say. It's thrashy, it's groovy, and it also gives me some, like, 80s, like, glam metal vibes at the same time. And one thing I like about this song is the meaning behind it is also really cool. The meaning is basically like, hey, we all got some demons in the closet, and the best thing we can do is come clean with them and move forward instead of trying to hide them or live a lie. Because living a lie never mixes well in the real world or with your religion, whatever that is. So, besides all that, I'd probably give this song a solid 8 out of 10. And now we're going to move on to my favorite track on the album, Indians. Yes. Starting with the famous chorus, Wrath of the Indians. It doesn't come until like the All I gotta say is this song is perfect. As our boy Homelander would say, this song is perfect.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect.
And not only is it perfect, not only were the riffs and the lyrics and the drum solo and Scott Ian's vocals and Dan Spitz's guitar solos, this track was just perfect in every way. And there's one thing I forgot to mention here. Sorry, I was just kind of like going off in a dirt tantrum here. This song reminds me kind of Run to the Hills on the album Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. It's basically talking about how bad the Indians had it when Native Americans. I so apologize. What the Native Americans went through when the colonists, like and Christopher Columbus and all of them, came over and just terrorized the hell out of these people. It's just awful. It's terrible. Something you should never do to any human being. But besides that, this song does a good job like illustrating that a fucked up concept, just like the last two albums, Rest in Peace and Ride the Lightning. There was a lot of fucked up concepts that were illustrated in a groovy way. And by the way, the song Run the Hills on Iron Maiden's album Number of the Beast, bro, it is so fucking groovy, even though it's talking about nothing but fucked up shit, like raping the women and wasting the men, like enslaving the children and getting them running into the hills. What the fuck? Like, that is just completely fucked up, but I don't know how they made it sound good. But besides that, we're gonna move on to the next track, One World. This is a pretty decent track, I'm not gonna lie. Another good one. One thing I like about this track is the meaning behind it. It basically is telling you, hey, you only get one life, so don't waste it. You know, you only get one set of parents, one set of friends, one set of everything, and you gotta enjoy it to the max and just take advantage of the small things, you know. And this just makes, not only is this a groovy song, but it makes me think about my life for a moment, like, hey, what do I got to complain about? I woke up today, didn't I? That's pretty gnarly to me. Besides that, I'm gonna move on to the next track, Medley, ADI, The Horror of It All. So what I love about this track, this is another perfect track. I might actually say it's just as good as Indians. Actually, they're both pretty comparable. Not only does this track remind me of Call of Cthulhu on Metallica's Ride the Lightning with that badass intro, this intro also reminds me of the movie Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one with Johnny Depp, not the cheesy remake or any of the awful sequels. All right, we don't talk about those. The only sequels I will talk about is Dream Warriors and New Nightmare. Otherwise, we don't speak of those other horrors. Get it? Horrors. But yeah, this song was also done perfect to the bone, as our boy Homelander would say. Just riffs, writing, hooks and chorus, drum solos, just everything, just to that tiny last notch. But anyways, let's get on to the final track. This is also a great track. I might even say it's just as good as Caught in a Mosh, or actually even better. It starts out with a badass intro. The middle may be sloppy and shitty as fuck, but the ending makes up for it, because then the ending goes back to how the intro kind of started out, but just takes it to a whole nother level. So this is a thrashy, groovy, and just well put together song once again. I think that about wraps up another one of the greatest metal albums of all time. I will be reviewing one of Slayer's albums in next video. And remember, y'all, read your Bibles, stay sexy, stay active, winners don't do drugs, and love y'all. Peace.